Thank you so much, Manish, for joining us on this podcast at Dawdle.live, another episode with the leaders. And we'll try to make it as interesting as possible so that, people kind of come to know about your story, both personal as well as professional. I have known Manish for a few weeks now. And as far as my first understanding goes, is that you're very passionate for marketing. You have come from a very humble background and you have grown big in your career through your hard work and perseverance, but would love to understand from your viewpoints or perspectives, how was your initial life like and what led you to a marketing career?
Thank you so much for your kind words, Rishikesh. And it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast at Dawdle and talk about myself and how my journey has been. So I was born in a small town, not very small, but in Patna. And I did my undergraduation from there. And then I came to Bombay for my post graduation. So early life, yes, I come from a joint Hindu family, largely from a business background. So we were the first generation learners in our family. So that was the kick because my father always wanted all of us, to really study well, and then you can choose your career or profession, whatever you look to do. So that is where we come from, a very humble background. We have seen how our parents, they have worked very hard, like all our parents in our normal life, and that gives a lot of motivation and courage to really work hard and try to carve a career for yourself. And God has been kind throughout this journey, that I have learned a little bit, achieved something, and constantly endeavor to really make a difference to the community which I represent, which is marketing and sales. Hope that helps.
Discuss more about the problems that you faced in the initial part of your life.
So initial part, if you look at, yes, in a school education, we were not in a top school, because at around 30, 40 years ago, you had very basic schools there, like a state board or a CBSE board, not like the education which we have today. And though we used to study in an English medium school, the way it is conducted was not fully English. It was like a mix of English and Hindi. So what happens is that your English was never really brought to a level of acceptability when you try to enroll in a college, right? So I had to work extra hard in my grades on 7 onwards, when I realized that if you just go by this kind of English, then probably does not help. So then I started picking up books and reading to ensure that I should be really up to the speed as far as representing yourself in a modern world is required. So that was one of the challenge. A second challenge, you can also say in terms of maybe the quality of teachers. Some of teachers were different because they had to used to have a different way of teaching. But that is something which we all have embraced very well. And I had to learn kudos to the teacher, the kind of work which they have done. Because the technology was not there. Every learning was like one to many, in a classroom of 60 to 70 students. So yeah. Otherwise, life has been good. Family has given a good background and platform to really aspire and try to achieve what I set out for myself to do it.
कभी ऐसा भी हुआ लाइफ में कि पापा ने बोला कि IIT?
No. IIT, so it's an interesting question. In my grade 8, I think, a teacher asked me that what is that I want to become. So I said technical engineer. Engineer is always technical. So I'm saying the level of information was not a great there. But yes, my father always wanted me to become an IAS professional, IAS and IPS, because coming from Bihar, and I had the personality always, because I was a voracious reader. I used to read a lot right from my childhood. And since after grade 5 and 6, I started picking up a lot of reading. So that, in fact, last ago he was also talking that somehow I kept mustache 10 days ago. So he said that now you look like a proper, IAS. So I said, yeah, in some way, want to just fulfill your wishes. But yeah, so he wanted me to pursue civil services. But if you look at that, 400 students getting selected in a kind of a few lakhs application is a very risky bet at that point in time as well. So I started preparing for it, but then I went for CA foundation and dropped that.
Yes.
But never a pressure for a medical engineer, because my brother is a doctor. He has pursued dentistry. We wanted to, and my two of my elder brothers, so they are into law profession, but now they practice business. So they are into business full time. So that is how the spread has been.
And what we see is that, your career spans across BFSI, commodities, higher education, and global EdTech in both India as well as international markets. So when you look back, what were those key moments, if you remember, that mostly shaped your leadership journey?
Yeah. So apart from leadership journey, I like to quote few of the instances which have shaped me as an individual. So when I joined banking industry, 8 years, I was with ICICI Group, and I was very young. I was at 24. I was able to get a very large size ticket premium, 5 crore case,
Hmm,
and with insurance cover 70 crore. So that was a defining moment in my career, which has given me a lot of conviction and courage to really dream big,
hmm,
because in the industry operated by stalwarts, I was a very, very small kid there. And
hmm,
with the help of the team support and everybody, God's been kind that I could pull off that kind of a work. And then subsequently, few other crore checks as well, which I brought at the
hmm,
age 24. So that has given me a lot of conviction that yes, in life, once you set out the goal, you can really
hmm,
achieve things very well. So professionally, that was the beginning of a journey where I realized the value of putting goals and milestones in your career, because once you do that, then you really work towards it. Once you do not do that, then you're clueless. So
hmm,
that was one. The second is in terms of my exposure, because when I gotten a lot of opportunities to travel abroad from
hmm,
2007 until 10 with ICICI, I've been to 15 plus countries. So I have
hmm.
met with a lot of capable people, professionals, good human beings across the world. So very early in my career, it has opened up avenues to learn from others, and try to be receptive of the culture sensitivity of different nations, different people. And that was, I think, the foundation of me understanding global aspects and how you can really launch your career over a period of time. That has really helped me a lot. If you asked me, my initial years where my formative is, as I always say, in terms of having a very global mindedness approach in your mind at work and at personal ethics.
Got it. And as you move, from sales and as you move from sales and market development into enterprise level P&L and brand leadership, what are the capabilities that become very critical to operate at scale?
Nice, good, great question, Rishikesh. So let me just go a little bit back in this journey. So while doing my MBA marketing, it's always a dream for somebody to get into an FMCG company and
Hmm,
start your career in marketing. But I met a lot of known people in FMCG industry, and they said the best way you can
hmm,
start is sales and
yeah.
start. And banking was really flourishing at that point. Banking and insurance. So because
Hmm,
see, what happens is that if you start in sales and you really understand
hmm,
that where the fulfillment happens, what are the on-ground challenges a salesperson faces, So 3 year hard stint doing the joint field work completely on the field the first 3 years, that really helped me understand that if tomorrow I'm going to be a marketer, then what I need to take care of my salespeople. What are their
hmm,
aspirations? What are their requirements to make a good sale, especially in the B2C segment, where how to handle customer obstacles, how to handle their objections, how to really create good collaterals which can solve the problem and act as a ready reckoner. So
hmm,
those things really helped me, and that's the reason why I wanted to take up sales first. So for the first 3 years, I did sales. From there, I moved to sales strategy as an internal marketing development the potential, wherein I really sharpened my skills in terms of quantitative skills, doing a lot of analysis, doing pan-India campaigns, and I was handling a book of 10 crores then. I'm talking about almost 15 years ago.
hmm,
So not even 15, 17, 18 years ago. So that has given me also a very good start and influencing the internal stakeholders, because we used to deal with various channels like HNI, independent financial advisors, 2.5 lakh kind of a segment community, which are
hmm,
driving our internal contest and launches in order to create attraction in the business. So I was responsible for rural channel, priority channel, which is HNI, agency channel. And so I was really learning a lot, enjoying a lot in those days. So I think that's one of the defining moment as well in terms of understanding the business segments and how we can really create very
hmm,
curated content for each of the segment, so that on the feet salespeople, on the ground salespeople can really work very well. Another defining moment was the transition from BFSI to higher education. So that happened in 2020, and I think that was a defining moment in my career, because I was doing pretty well. I was like 0.05 percentile in the ICSA group itself. But what I wanted to also see is that how there was never a satisfaction inside, right? That's something you're doing for the community, something you're trying to build toward nation making. I'm not saying that by selling insurance or marketing insurance or life or say banking product do not aid in national build up, but
hmm.
the directly you can see the benefit after a few years, right? 10 years, 15 years at the debt maturity. So that's something that satisfaction was not coming in. So then I moved to education sector, because where I believe that the outcome can be seen in as short as 6 months, where a certificate program, a graduate program in 3 to 4 years, and 2 years in a master's program. So then you see that kind of effort which you're trying to build for students to bring high quality students into your institution, and seeing them learning and getting them the right placement. You being a student at a great institution like an FMS, if I'm not mistaken, so you know that the journey is not easy of 2 years of MBA or any other thing. So the gratification which you really get is of high quality. So that was one of the motives to move. So that was another defining factor in my career. And to answer your question, so I started my career largely into B2C. So that is where I handle maximum sales and marketing portfolios. But as we had a lot of channel partners in our various institutions which I have worked, where I've developed my B2B capabilities, first in India, and then finally in 2022, working with a cybersecurity organization at a global level in 70 countries, where we used to have 2-3 channels to get our students. One was a retail channel, which is a B2C, and B2B, we have channel partners across Dubai, Singapore, US, and the Middle East. So that has been a very seamless, I would say, migration from B2C to B2B. So primarily a B2C marketer, but having a kind of a B2B knowledge as well. Hope that answers your question. Happy to add any more points if you, yeah.
I understand it's a seamless, but I want to hear the challenges that you faced, the problems that were there, which
Okay. So yeah. So yeah.
like
So if you see in terms of problem, what happens is once you migrate from any industry, so BFSI is a very organized industry. Even 20 years ago, there are systems and processes in place. So in higher education, one is that the systems were not there when I joined. So you see everything is like in Excel sheets and other places, but not conclusive. That is one. Second is the quality of team, which because education is not like a defined industry then. Now it is becoming a lot of professionals are coming in. So the lot of training has to be done for your team members in order to bring them up to speed to the global level. So those things were very, very important. Third is in terms of budgets as well. The budgets which we used to handle in a corporate is way higher and a little bit more flexible than as you do in education, which is very tight in terms of budget, right? So you have to really ensure that you optimize that budget very well. And fourth is the heterogeneity of the consumer. I'll give example. Suppose if you're looking for insurance product, right, or a banking product, then the customers are really in terms of their income level. Okay. But once you comes to education, the customer changes from a changing geography. So what will sell in India, what will sell in say any state in India, say Maharashtra, may not go that well in say Kerala or Tamil Nadu. So regional heterogeneity is a lot. So how do you really create a seamless execution targeting your various demographics and student persona? So that was the challenge initially, which I learned well.
got you. We'll move to the education part because you have managed admissions ranging from few thousand to 30,000 annually. And we hear a lot of things about the marketing, how it happens inside the educational institutions. Would love to understand from you a few stories around how admissions are being managed and how you were able to, kind of achieve such large numbers, and also the ethical and the unethical aspects of it.
That is a very difficult one to comment on record, but yeah, on the first part, so different institutions have a different admission system. Largely, if you see that there people have local markets in their own cities, people have brand pull, legacy that sells. So first, you have to understand that there are 5 or 6 main factor which helps a student to decide to choose an institution. First is the brand legacy. Second is the quality of faculty. The third is the infrastructure and the support system. Fourth is, of course, the placements of the job opportunity. And fifth is industry connect. Sixth is the alumni relation. These are 6 factors which across UG and PG, especially for PG segment, it's very, very important for institutions to have in order to create the kind of trust amongst the student. So when I joined my first institution, it was in the rural Maharashtra and some part of Bombay as well. They had a different challenge. They had a challenge of introducing ICSE curriculum because I started my career into K-12. So they had a challenge of introducing ICSE education in part of Maharashtra, where people are only paying 10,000, 15,000 fees. Asking them to pay a lakh rupee, lakh 10,000 fees per annum, and that in Marathwada, is no easy game, asking them, especially the farmer belt and all. So I have done a lot of outreach programs. So I launched something called a Latur outreach program. And I
mm,
almost for 2 years, I did more than 60 interventions on the ground with farmers, sugarcane farmers, and all of those people, jewelers, lawyer associations, to help
mm,
them understand the value of education. And
yeah,
with that, we have been able to build the school from almost a zero student to 200 students in the very first 2 years at that
mm,
price. So you have to really meet with people and make them understand the value proposition, that why
yeah,
they should choose for high quality education. I'm also somebody who has sold or marketed any kind of program ranging from say 20,000 rupees to 50 lakh rupees and up to
mm,
2 crores as well. I've done some of the programs. So I have developed that range across the institution. Second challenge, I would say, in terms of very reputed institution where I've worked, when you are one campus at the main campus in cities like Mumbai, and then
mm,
you launch another campus say in Hyderabad
mm,
or
mm,
Bengaluru, and that on outskirts 100 kilometers. How do you convince students to come and join for that school?
mm,
Because everybody wants to join the flagship. I'll give example. Today FMS is one. Say tomorrow FMS two is going to come in say
yeah,
another city. People will still choose FMS one, right, which is New Delhi.
yes,
So then it becomes quite challenging. So what you do is you try to bring down the gate criteria for them to enter. That is one. That okay, fine. If you got a little lower score than the main score, at least you can come there. But
mm,
then the infra is new. The challenges are there in terms of why you should I join this institution in say outside of Hyderabad and not another brand which is already established in Hyderabad, right?
mm,
So then we have done a lot of webinar sessions, one-to-one campus visit, and make them understand the value of the brand. Like, for
mm,
example, the mother brand of IMs give birth to the baby IMs, 14 IMs, right?
mm,
The value of a baby doesn't grow in 1 year. It
mm,
grows every year. So today you may be a part of a new campus in Hyderabad, but after 10 years, you'll be known as this institution from Hyderabad you have passed out. So
mm,
education is one product or say one uh, arsenal, one thing in your arsenal, the
mm,
value of which only appreciates, it never depreciates.
mm.
So any institution you study from, if you kept your upskilling level over a period of time, it will add value. So that was a challenge which I dealt very well in terms of doing a lot of local outreach, local branding activities, talking to students, make them understand the value that if you go with a reputed brand versus a brand B, then you may not get the long-term career leverage which you can get from here.
Yes, and what I also see is that when it comes to India, people like, admissions kind of happen on various, like one of the things that you told is the brand. You also took the name of FMS, IIMs, and all these colleges. But to be very frank, I was the cat topper and I got into FMS, but I don't think FMS has made me what I am. And right now, even if you remove FMS from my CV, which I don't put in now, except on LinkedIn that I have put in because my angel investors asked me to put that, when I look back, I feel that CAT score was a great achievement for me because that basically proved to myself that I can be the topmost 1% in India because that was a confidence booster. But when I entered into an MBA college, what I found out is that it's all bullshit that they are teaching. It's nothing. If they would have taught in 2 years how to sell, how to go to the market, pitch yourself, earn your living, I would have done more good to people than teaching them strategy consulting and all those things. Those are important things, sir. That there is no doubt in that. But those kind of roles are so limited. When I see MBA folks from IIMs, because my wife also comes from IIM, majority of them, sir, are so insecure. They can't take up a challenging role.
Hmm.
They want to live within their comfort zone. And don't you think, sir, this is a bigger problem because when we talk about the topmost institutes, imagine what is happening with the lower rung. When we hire somebody from there and when we ask them, hey, you go out on the road and you talk to 100 people, they are not ready to do that. So how should we change that?
See, look, Rishikesh, you have touched upon a very, very sensitive topic in India, the quality of education. It is not only to do with, say, an MBA education in India. Even if you look at the school education, we are almost trained to do rote learning, that you learn to pass the exam rather than picking up the skills. That is where the NAP 2020 is a watershed moment in the higher Indian education system. They have tried to change the system. See, it takes time for a country of 140 crore people to change things. And a lot of institutions are now adopting NAP because it's a mandate as well. And it has a lot of good factors. That is how the mix of learning is changing. But is it that it has already changed a lot? The answer is no. But in a good 5-7 years from now, a lot of things will continue to change and evolve in the Indian education system. If you look at even school, the experiential learning is the new way education is happening, apart from the way it has been. Look at Japan. In Japan, there are no tests in the schools because they do not believe in putting pressure on the students, and then they go and perform, and some of them not perform. That doesn't mean they don't have the skills. Rather than that, what they do is they know how to manage the classroom, how to arrange the classroom, how to do the cleaning activities, how to do caring and sharing. And today, if you see Japanese are the best performing individual, 12 hours they can work. So it's a system at a country level issue which is being resolved by eminent academicians and bureaucrats and central government and state government and even chancellors and vice chancellors of private universities as well. Things are changing. It will take some time. So you rightly said that, see, the insecurity comes because the workplace demands something else. Workplace demands right from day one, you should be able to perform the job. You should be skilled enough to lead a team, understand, do the meetings, get the sale close, as you said. But what happens is that studies does not only prepare you for the job skills, it prepare you as a person. It builds a character. It builds resilience in us. For example, at IIT IIMs, if you study, you have to work hard before the entrance test, and then 16 and 18 hours of study during that. Exams had very awkward moments at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. What does this tell us? That people become very rigorous. They become very, very working in order to take up any challenges. It prepares and builds the character. So see this from a two perspective, that one is skill level understanding that what they've been taught, and second is the kind of tenacity, resilience, hard work quotient which is being developed in oneself while getting education at good institutions.
Yeah, but then we are missing out on one very important thing, sir, is that collaboration.
Collaboration in terms of?
See, they are hardworking, they are resilient,
Hmm.
can work for like 18, 19 hours a day. But one thing that we miss out is how are they helping others grow? Because
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So I agree what you're saying. What happens is it is more about the interpersonal skills rather than, and these things were not a part of the curriculum earlier. But if you now see in the last 10, 15 years, I can definitely tell you that every curriculum in MBA or even at UG level in India is having soft skill development, interpersonal skills development, kind of electives are there. So that, because at the end of the day, the student in the third year in engineering or fourth year, early fourth year, they have to sit for the placements. So there they have to talk about, give them the elevator pitch. So now a lot of training is happening in the industry for all the kind of students. So scenario is changing. It has changed a lot. Otherwise, how do you think that even a lot of institutions are able to place students at 14, 15, 17 lakh rupees? The larger challenge is what? How to ensure that 80-90% of the classroom, is there, or 100% student is there. That's a real challenge. We are talking about
Why to give placements, sir? Why to give placements? Let them go on in the
yeah,
market and offer
so,
themselves.
yeah, that's also a very good point which you have brought now. So what happens is the entrepreneurship is also very important. So now a lot of institutions have launched those entrepreneurship program, and I have personally marketed many of them. But still, if you look at, you have to understand the mindset of a parent in India. You have to understand that they always first used to look at high-end jobs. For example, first comes IAS. Look at the pecking order of higher education in India. Then second comes medical. Doctor ban gaya, even if people spend 2-3 crores of capitation in terms of non-merit seats, and still he will say that he will earn in crores over a period of 50 years or 40 years. That's a long career. Then you have engineers and ITs and all of that, and then you have MBAs, right? The point is that the society is organized in such a way that they want to marry them somebody 24. They say, okay, fine. Is the boy earning or not? A typical MBA graduate comes out of the college at 24, at times 25 as well. An engineering graduate comes at 21, 22, right? You know that you're also an entrepreneur now. So starting a business, it takes time. So what I'm trying to communicate here is that not all the students are keen for entrepreneurship, because it is not possible. It is not easy. It is very difficult journey when people can succeed if they don't have a plan B. The moment somebody get plan A and plan B, then entrepreneurship is not the route for that person. So I'm saying a very small amount or magnitude of audience, 8%, 7%, those are open for entrepreneurship. And that very organized with that study and then become entrepreneur, So that is where I would like to mention programs of family business manage. These manage family business and all these programs are doing very well. But
mm,
that caters to around say 20,000 students in the India. In India, those who are coming from high-end families, mid-end families, people having a business of 5 crore and above, 2 crore and above, so that they can scale the business once they go back. But
mm,
if you ask me that question, that why not entrepreneurship route, it is to do with the authenticity of the mind. So we Indians are generally, you know, we go try and tested way that let
mm,
America do things, let the West do these things, and we'll just replicate. China is
mm,
different. China is why China has been able to become a manufacturer because they innovate. So they're the
mm,
original thinkers. We are original doers. We can replicate things fast. So I hope that you're getting what I'm trying to say. That we are risk averse as far as investing our time, money into something the out
mm,
which is not known. So we
mm,
are conservative from that perspective. But generations are changing. If you look at Gen Z and Gen Alpha, which is now going to hit the market in 3-4 years time, so they think
mm,
differently. But there's also a combination of students because, as I said, that there are 5 crore students who are studying in higher education system. You'll always find different kind of students. These are very academic in nature, very studious. They want to go IIT way, they want to go IAS way, they want to go medical way, but there'll also be a component of students opting for entrepreneurship. The numbers are very less at this moment if you compare the overall cosmos.
yes. Okay. Entrepreneurship is one thing, but why to have job placements on campus? Why not we can just give a degree to them, like what happens in the US, and ask them to go out, hunt for jobs, go to the companies, pitch, and get a job? Because once that happens, sir, then what will happen is that the expectation of a parent or a student that they have got into a college to get a good education will increase as compared to getting a good placement. Because I also see a majority of the budget that colleges spend is on marketing admissions and on placements. But in between, there's a serious budget crunch.
Yeah, so in one way, what you're saying is right because it's a different perspective as well. See, these are very long established notions of getting into a good college and getting placed because end of the day, it's a ROI game. Changing that overnight may not be acceptable to parents at large. Because then they say that why we should invest so much of money. Let's look at example of today's AI age, right?
Mm,
Today, everything can be learned online. There are free universities, free courses, and then you can also learn soft skills separately. Then
mm,
why you need to go to the college? That's a very large question which you have touched base on right now. And that will change over a period of time. It is not possible. See, in US, the system is different. US, it is a very mature system of university for the last 200 years. And that
mm,
too, right from the structure of community college and going up to the private university. So community college, then you have big public universities there. That is state funded, research funded, all of it. There, the focus itself is not on sustenance. You have to understand that. The focus is there in terms of growing the community, like the likes of Stanford, MIT, and
mm,
Harvard. They work for the committee because they do not only run for the fee structure because they get a lot of endowments, right? Which has off late has gone down. But in India, it is different. In India, first of all, the quality of institution changes. And
mm,
I personally believe that there's always a student in India who can be married to a given institution. There's always a college for a student and always a student for a college. You have to
mm,
understand this fact very well because no high quality institution can accommodate all the students. There are various level of merits. So why I'm saying this is not possible because why somebody would take the risk of going and spending a 20 lakh rupees for an MBA program or a
mm,
15 lakh for engineering for 5 years in private college if they are not getting any kind of surety that they will land placements. People are not going to make that effort. And see, the bottom 20-30%, the students, those who are not either able to convert the calls into placement or they have not been even shortlisted during the pre-placement rounds and all, they eventually go out to the market, right? They eventually go to the market and then they hunt. See,
mm,
college gives you or institution gives you the first entry. After that, any which ways people have to do hunting. So in one way, you are saying is right. But the point is that then apart from education, then why they're coming for is the placement, a very strong foundation. These things can change, but not very easy to change. So I would
mm.
stop at that one.
I understood. This is a very long going debate. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because as I think more and more, I kind of,
So you're talking to a passionate educator, and I say that you are a passionate learner as well. Then the
yeah,
conversation will go in beyond days.
Yeah, because these are only small dopamine effects now, which is
Yeah,
actually
absolutely. Absolutely.
destroying our mind in terms of. So let's suppose, somebody didn't get into IIT. Let's suppose. Then there is a second step that you have to get into an IIM. And if somebody doesn't get into an IIM, let's suppose, then this thing which is there inside India is that cursing that this guy or this girl is not acceptable now, or he will not get a good marriage candidate, because everything in India is also connected to marriage in some way or the other.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Which I told you earlier. Yes.
So that cycle has to be broken somewhere, sir, because I have seen. So my younger brother, he studied at NIT, and he told to me very succinctly that I'm not going to do an MBA from India like what you did. Although he got 94, 95 percentile, then, he told that I'm going to go to US. I'm going to get admission maybe in a tier one sort of 50th rank or 40th rank kind of a college. I will do my MS in data science and I will not come back to India. I asked him, why are you telling this? Why do you hate this country so much? And he told only one thing, that after my graduation, I worked for 2 years in a company and I hate the bosses out there. And even when he is in the US, sir, whenever he gets an Indian boss, he tries his level best to change that person. So there is something intrinsic which is there, but we will move on to the next question, is that when we talk about higher education, marketing and admissions are often treated as tactical functions. From your experience, where do institutions fundamentally get this wrong?
So I would not agree to this point totally that it is tactical in nature, because a lot of private institutions which I've worked is very, very strategic in nature, very, very strategic. Because if you're only tactical, then you will only reach somewhere and you'll not be able to achieve your entire goal. So strategy is there. But having only strategy is not helpful. Anybody can draw a strategy today in the world of AI, or they can
Mm,
get written from somebody, or they can hire a consultant write a strategy. Main thing lies in execution. How consistently, how ruthlessly somebody is really executing all the platform level strategy
mm,
into actionable outcomes, be it print, be it digital, be it radio, be it cinema, be it mall, be it local outreach activity. It
mm,
has to be seamlessly executed in order to get the best ROI on any dollar spent. That
mm,
is something which is lacking in most of the places, because it is not easy to do it. For able to do that, you need to have a very strategic mind in terms of which platform will give you what. Every platform will not give you everything what you want. Every
mm,
platform has a certain plus points, pros and cons, or they are meant for something. So you
mm,
can't expect high quality conversion from Facebook. But if you're
mm.
deploying a lot of dollars just to get the leads in Facebook,
Uh,
then your marketing campaign is screwed.
yes.
So what I'm trying to tell you here is that strategy, once your strategy has been, you have to bring the team
Mm,
on the strategy to make them understand on both sides, marketing, admissions as well, and then show them progress on a monthly basis. This is how our strategy was executed. This is what we are going to achieve. For example, how we run in D2C. Like there's a
mm,
typical ARR, right? And that is done in a certain way that you get to know that if you're 10 million by 6 months, then you're going to do 22 million by end of the year, right? So
yes.
that is one part. Second is the understanding of a funnel is not very great at a lot of institutions. So that also people struggle to understand that what should go, which message should go at the top of the funnel, what should go at the middle of the funnel, and what should go at the bottom of the funnel. So people
Mm,
send any random communication throughout the admission cycle, that
mm,
right from day one you say that rush now for admissions, then they just started. So it will not work, right? Because
right.
different kind of students in their different customer journey. The third point is the customer journey. Also, a lot of people don't understand that how much you should communicate to a customer or a student or a parent, in what frequency, on what platforms, how much by email, how much by WhatsApp.
Mm,
At times, it becomes a very, very robotic exercise that you put all those things in the automation and then it in the CRM and it goes. But end of the day, you have to keep measuring that whether emails been sent are being opened or not. Is there
mm,
any action after the email? Is there any action after the WhatsApp message? So WhatsApp has brought a lot of clarity in higher education that is helping conversion at lower cost. But that is where the challenge is. So it's not that institutions, I have worked in institutions which are very high on strategy and very high on execution as well. And that's why they're able to do 30,000 admissions. Let me tell you, they're
mm,
big universities where I have worked. There are other my colleagues who work. The only thing is that what cost you're bringing that admission. That is where I always used to bring my operational efficiencies, my strategies in terms of reducing the leakage, going
mm,
where the student is. so that you burn less to achieve more. So that is what the essence is required today to manage the high education segment. And a lot of institutions are beautifully doing it. A lot of
Mm.
institutions are learning to do it. See, it's learning by doing, it is not that you will go right in the first phase. You go right somewhere, you'll go wrong somewhere, but ultimately you'll be able to get your balance. Every institution leadership knows what kind of students they get.
Mm.
They also have a goal that what kind of students I want in my institution. At one of
Mm.
my institution, I was getting top students from Bombay, but
Mm.
the ask there was to get the students from IITs.
Mm.
Why? Because the moment you bring students from IITs, your placement goes up. It's a very
Yeah.
direct correlation.
Yes.
Every institution has, and every school under institution has different objectives for
Mm.
students, and everybody has a local market as well. And today, local is the new global. If you see, if you are
Yes.
not strong locally, you cannot survive nationally. Take that from me in writing, because what happens is the local competition is so much that if you're not able to create the local presence, local visibility, local acceptability of your brand, community acceptability of a brand, then how do you expect us people coming from south to north if your own people are not signing up? So that
Yes.
is how a lot of big universities are making their home state as a bastion of number of 50-60% students are coming
Mm.
from that as well. I
Oh,
hope
this
that
is
answers your question.
absolutely. Yeah. And, also since you have a very interesting experience that, you have kind of built go-to market and admissions strategy for over 70 plus countries. So what materially changes when you operate globally versus India first?
I love this question. So it's very, very close to my heart. So see, what happens is if you look at, like, an example of Coca-Cola. So in Coca-Cola, there was a very famous ad. So which we write from right to left. So the entire shooting was done from point A to point B.
Mm.
In Arab, they write from the left.
Mm.
So it was shown that somebody drank a Coca-Cola and they felt energized and they slept on the what you call as a desert. Other
Mm.
way out is they read from there, you know, that they drank and they die and they could not get up, that kind of a thing. So all I'm trying to tell you is that regional regional understanding of a consumer is very, very important.
Mm.
Second is you have to have persona. So what we essentially do is you change persona for same communication. You cannot run in a Singapore what you're running in India or in say Middle East or in say
Mm.
Africa. So you
Mm.
have to show local creatives, local video, local testimonials from those students, those who have done well, so
Mm.
that local students connect.
Mm.
A regional connect is very, very important of any geography.
Mm.
Third is that the communication of benefit, that how do you really do
Mm.
more 10,
Mm.
15 features, benefits. Nahi hota hai. Benefit, will people remember 15 benefits? You have to give your top 5, 6 benefits
Mm.
that which are game changer, which could be a game changer for a student. Make sense?
Yes.
Because people have very limited attention span. Look at the Gen Z going to the Zen Alpha. They flip in 7 seconds, 5 frames.
Mm.
In 1 minute, if you see, they spend on 10 different platforms.
Mm.
Average comes at 6, 7 seconds. If that is so true, then the minimal communication, minimal creative, and very powerful information. Information which help them to not decide first, think first. That
Mm.
is this institution, is this program good for me? Don't jump on the outcome. So the way I decide the communication is that the first layer of communication is to make your product aware. The
Mm.
awareness of the brand, awareness of the product. So people should at least consider your product. The
Mm.
challenge that marketers want the quick attribution. Launch a campaign, sales should come. It will not come like that,
Yeah.
because you have different kind of student segments. Their needs to receive communication is different. They are different stages of the decision making. Once you
Mm.
arrive the decision making stage, then you push communication, and then you also bolster that when it is a closure, that why you should. And a lot of tactical measures are there, like an early bird, a
Mm.
scholarships. Those things are always used as a strong bait to help students enroll
Mm.
fast. If you're not enrolling yourself, somebody else will enroll. Student is only one. So the challenge before marketer is that to earn one student, they have to get, say, at least 50 lead in India, 40 to 50 leads in India. And you can snatch that lead at a higher cost than all the other competitors are willing to pay. So
Yeah.
if your budget is not there, so marketing is not easy in higher education. It looks easy, and looking at what Google is doing,
It's the toughest one.
what Google is doing today in terms of taking the CPL to a different level altogether, it has gone up by 40-50%. So it
Mm,
becomes a very challenging situation for a marketer to first bring that lead, snatch the leads from the competitors at a high cost, nurture them, and then convert. So that's only possible if you really
mm,
understood your target segment. You are just not going for everybody.
mm,
There's a very clear communication is there. The brand has been showcased well, questions
mm,
have been invited, FAQs have been given, so a lot of these things goes. And then
mm,
once people start seeing that you are trying to be there for them and not for you,
mm,
then they
mm.
start accepting you more.
I had a question in my mind, like, I don't know whether you will answer it or not, so you can avoid answering that as well. What is the percentage of the total fees collected from the student is considered to be a good amount for the acquisition as an acquisition cost?
So see, acquisition cost differs from institution to institution
Mm,
and depending upon the maturity of the organization in terms of their legacy. So
mm,
established brand will spend lesser percentage on the top line, or semi-established brand will spend mid-tier, and the new entrants will have to spend more because people do not know them. So you have to create a lot of awareness.
So
See,
up.
there's not one number per se. The number ranges anywhere between 2% to 5%, and
Mm,
somewhere it can go up to as 10% as well in the high end programs.
it. And sir, what are the common mistakes do you see Indian institutions make when they are expanding internationally?
Okay, so I would not say as mistakes. So I would like to put that as a learning curve. So internationally, the program has to be customized,
Mm,
to the audience what they're looking at. So if you're expanding internationally, then you
mm,
have to see that what kind of students you are targeting. I'll give you example. Suppose a
mm,
private university is establishing in Dubai.
mm,
So the target should be then the three kind of people. One is
mm,
local UAE Emiratis.
mm.
Second is your expats from different countries, European Americans, and third is the Indians. Inadvertently, what you'll see in those universities, the Indian students are more,
Yes.
because the positioning is becomes such that there's no unique positioning for a Arab market or unique positioning for a European or a American market. So that is where, as I say, that it is more about understand the communication. Second is the pricing as well. Now the pricing has become very important in national markets also, because everybody is going and pricing is very relative. Pricing is never that somebody's offering at $10 and you offer $20, because a
Mm,
similar program has to be matched around that. Third is in terms of giving them a kind of a simulation environment that
mm,
even if they're studying in, say, UAE, they can solve problems globally. A
mm,
couple of brands have launched tri-city model, five-city model, seven-city model, because nature of problem differs across industries, across countries.
mm,
You need a very global kind of a mindset first, mindset of acceptability of other
mm,
culture and other religion and other countries, so
mm,
that you are not driven by any preconceived notions. So
mm,
that becomes a very challenging part in terms of how to manage a curriculum or deliver a curriculum which will create that kind of mindset in each of those 60 students or 40 students sitting in the classroom, those who are
mm,
coming from different ethnicities. Otherwise, everything is more standard. Universities are very sorted when they launch internationally. They only launch international once they are ready and the product is tested. And the other way to also look at the inward mobility, the students who comes to India, from, so there are more than like 20,000 students come every year from overseas for medical and this kind of programs. And then there are many other students as well coming from UG. So that model tested that what is that they like. For example, at big universities, we celebrate their national days. We gave
mm.
them food of their choice, programs which will suit their requirements, be it music or other things. So there are a lot of ways universities have learned to manage international students. It's not that, and without that, they only launch internationally. We're enjoying the conversation. It's almost an hour now.
Yes. Now, when we talk about digital marketing, analytics, and AI, we see it everywhere now. Where do you see the real value creation?
So real value creation is across the funnel. If you look at content, there is a lot of innovations happening in the way content is done, fast, cheap, reliable content from the help of various AI tools.
Mm,
Also in terms of performance marketing and running your like CPC ads, if you see today, if you search, AI throws the suggestions first. So all the institutions are now gearing up to be very SEO compliant and AI compliant kind of a search based ads, so that it can really reduce your cost. Because now if people are going to hit on those clicks which are driven by AI, that means you're going to get lesser clicks, and then you're going to spend, the cost per lead is going to be much more higher and the conversion lower. So it's a challenging situation, but as a marketer, we'll always find solutions towards problem, and how do we really organize our ad sets and all that's going to be really helpful. But it is impacting across the value chain, at content, at performance marketing, at even at a calling level. A lot of integrations happen with various IVR tools, wherein you get
Hmm.
smart notification that which lead should be called now, which looks more potent to get converted.
Hmm.
So those kinds of interventions also at the IVR level, and ultimately the CRM in terms of the automation journey. That is
Hmm.
it AI driven, that somebody's acted on your automation email, that what's the next level? Are you linking your automated automation journey along with the WhatsApp so that the entire notification is coming there? So a lot of actions happening on the AI automation,
Hmm.
and that to managing right from the funnel to the MIS analytics, and also the outcome in terms of student numbers and cost per acquisition.
Yes. And you had mentioned in between as well that marketing, especially in case of educational institution, is a very tough task. Too much competition. Google is playing the tricks and all those things. So in these all high pressure, growth cycles, because whenever you join as an marketing head of any educational institution, how should leaders balance speed, enrollment targets, and also maintain a long-term brand integrity?
Yeah, so that's very important. So speed is the name of the game. If you're not fast enough, you cannot even survive in this industry, or any industry for that matter. You have to be really ahead
Hmm.
of your time.
Yeah.
Second is the basic things have to be put in place first. For any leader to join, the first 2 3 months, you have to put the entire basic fundamental mechanisms to support your marketing admission. That's very, very important. What was the other part of your question in terms of agility?
Enrollment targets.
Yeah. So see, enrollment targets is a output of the process what you have put in. The process has to be followed in order to reach the enrollment, because enrollment doesn't only come from one section or one channel. You'll have your
Yes.
own website channel where the substantial numbers will come, 30% to 50%. Then you have performance marketing channel of Google and display and all of it. Then you have education portals, which is another publisher based channel. Then you have local outreach level as well, at the school level, a local city level, office level. So a lot of these channels comes with enrollments. So if you put the right process for each of these channels to follow,
Hmm.
and then monitor that by a weekly cadence, that
Hmm.
weekly evaluate all the channel, then
Yeah.
the enrollment happens. Enrollment just doesn't happen on its own. So
Yeah.
entire process has to be followed. The Suppose if you need 100 enrollments, for that I know that I need 2,500 leads. So the input has to be right in terms of the number of leads, the quality of leads from each of these channels, in
Hmm.
order to have a channel specific enrollment goal. Because the cost to get from different channel is also very different.
Yes.
A consultant channel gives you at a lakh rupee admission, or 20%, 30%, while your website organic gives almost free of cost. The branding cost you can cater to. Where your performance marketing will give you 30, 25 to 35,000, which is lesser than one fourth of what a consultant will give. So all this permutation and combinations, strategic marketing leaders, they make it, they put that in a spreadsheet, they bring the team together on that. Training of a team is required to be done. That has to be done at all times, be it on the marketing side, be it on admission side. And then via weekly cadence, see that how we are moving,
Hmm.
what changes are required to be done, what additions are required to be done, what is the noise on the ground, or what is the message coming from the field, that what is that challenge they are facing. So that is how you build both the verticals. And so if you look at my career, the way I have approached is that I'm not only a marketer, I'm a chief marketing plus business officer. So I've been like doing both sides, because that was the idea why I started my career in sales, because then I wanted to be managing both the functions, because then you can really reduce on the leakage part at various places.
Hmm.
Otherwise, the marketing will end up blaming sales, and sales admissions will end up blaming marketing. So that's a kind of a fine balance which I try to create.
Yes. Now, the last question that we have is around when we talk about, leadership belief, you must be having some belief, say, 15 years back, and now, it has been challenged or your experience has forced you to rethink. Can you talk a little bit on that?
Great question, Rishikesh. So leadership styles for myself have evolved over a period of time. So when I started my career, I first became a leader in 2000 and say around 12. So then my style was largely a democratic leadership, in terms of taking everybody together and getting things done. And like more of a democratic or a participative leadership model, you should say. The moment you keep on growing, though you have to keep the element of distributed leadership, participative leadership, but I've also learned that you have to be a transformer as a leader. If you can't transform, then you cannot be a leader in a high action scenario, or a high action environment. So I have changed and I have gradually changed my leadership to transformation leadership, wherein I transform my department, I transform my processes, I transform the team which I lead, so that end of the day, the entire transformation happens across the board for the portfolio which I'm. So that is something how I evolved from being a participative leader to now a transformation.
Got it. And for senior leaders who are stepping into a CMO or growth roles today, what is the first thing that they should unlearn to stay relevant?
Okay, so it is not about stepping into a say, CMO, because designation do change depending upon the company and the nature. But once you handle a substantial portfolio as an independent charge, I would like to put it that way, that you are the number one person in marketing in your given company, then if
Yeah.
you're coming from a different industry, you have to unlearn few things. It's not like to forget things, but you have to keep those things aside in one part of your mind and learn
Mm,
to understand the industry and then see that
mm,
what things you can bring into this new industry. When I moved from banking to education, I knew that it's going to be a completely new thing and it's a completely new. But what I brought from my banking and finance is my number skills. Numbers in terms of building my plans, target plans, my projections, which God's been kind that worked very well because I've worked in that kind of a high high pressure number environment in a banking segment. So that has really helped
mm,
me. Leaders have to be very cautious that what they have to unlearn. So I also have to unlearn to bring my
mm.
aggressive quotient lesser in higher education because that will not work. Bank, you can
Yes.
in bank you can get a lot of things done and get away
Yes.
in terms of being very aggressive because everybody is very aggressive. Once you come to education, you have to maintain aggression in not your body language or your the way you speak, but the way you
Yeah.
execute things. Aggression should be there in terms of getting things done. So
Yeah.
this is how people should unlearn those things and try to bring a lot of things positive from their previous industry if they are coming from a different industry. Otherwise, as long as you are a people's person, you are somebody who is more system driven and you are able to receive the wisdom from the leadership, management, owners, and translate that into their 3 to 5 year mission or their yearly goals. One is sorted that way. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much, sir. Great conversation, and we touched upon so many things.
Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all. It has been a wonderful session. You coming from non-education, you have really hit the note very well with a lot of questions on the education front, which was very heartening, and it made my job easier to speak to you, so that this can be relayed to that audience later. So it was a great conversation, I must say.
Thank you so much, sir. And there are so many commonalities between you and me. So that also helps to strike conversations in more personal way.
I'm glad.
But thank you so much for being so upfront. I hope this is going to help a lot of leaders across to learn about how B2C marketing works, especially from BFSI and educational institutions' point of view. Thank you so much, sir. We are extremely grateful to host you.
Thank you so much, Rishikesh and Team Dawdle for having me today. And I enjoyed this conversation. I wish you all the best for all your podcasts. And I know that you guys are doing a great job bringing marketing leaders across the industry. I have seen your other podcast as well. And the kind of work which you guys are doing is very meaningful. And a lot of learning is involved. If somebody is keen to learn, I must ask them to request them to go on your YouTube channel and must hear from various leaders from different industry to gain perspectives. All the very best to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Sir,